What is up, guys? Politics Gaming here, and today we're doing a brand new episode of the United Mexican States. In the previous episode, essentially what happened is that we won our election in a landslide. We are rather playing as Claudia Sheinbaum. Claudia Sheinbaum was the president of our party before AMLO, and she moved on to greater things, and so now she is the first female president of the United Mexican States. So this is a pretty big victory in terms of how we are operating as a nation and how far we are going socially. So one of the biggest things that I kind of want to get out of the way in this episode is that we are going to meet our election promises. So beside that tiny little political crisis that we were going through in the previous episode, essentially what we are going to do is that we are going to meet our election promises. So we're going to be doing development of university sport, regulation on animal welfare, exemptions for using retirement by capitalization. We're also going to lower the value added tax, but then also increase the wealth tax. And we could aim for a very progressive wealth tax of about 10 to 12%. So in order to kind of make up for the money that we're losing on lowering the VAT tax, we are going to increase the wealth tax. Essentially, so the first thing we're going to do is that development of university sports, and then manpower and police. So these are going to be some big ones. And we have a very good surplus that we can use to increase a lot of our funding measures and continue to try to meet our election promises. So these are going to take a minute in order to go and increase for our staffing. Medical staff, we are going to be doubling. So let's already go over to medical staff and double that as well. So let's go and election promises. Minimum wage, that is going to increase from 125 to 175. So we're not going to increase it right to 175 because we don't want to instigate a massive increase in our illegal employment. We have already made massive strides so far in terms of illegal employment right now. So let's see what unemployment is at. We are at less than 1% employment as of right now. So let's go ahead, and illegal employment is at about 30%. Let's go ahead and increase this to 135. So do that, and pretty solid passage rate through the Congress. And then fight against child labor, we'll go ahead and increase funding to that. Integration of the handicap in the workplace. We're going to increase funding to employing seniors. We'll go ahead and pass those measures as well. And that was very well received. Employment, education, family, young people, health, security, social and public sector approval has gone up, and that puts us at a solid 100% approval rating. Let's go over to energy right now, and we will go and look right here. So what we want to do is that since we have developed our oil sector a little bit, we want to find a oil well that will be able to get us a lot of oil. And what we want to do is we'll go over here, 421, 3.3 million. Can we get something that's like 4 or 5 million? 2 million, 3 million. We could try to do this one. 1.9 million, and may have to do that 3 million one. What I'm gonna do is that we are going to purchase or build a oil pipeline to the United States. And whenever we build this oil pipeline, 3.3 million. So we're gonna do it from this one. We're gonna ask the United States to approve the construction of a oil pipeline, and then what we're gonna do is that we're gonna build from this oil well, and then we're gonna build it into Texas. So it'll be a very short pipeline, and we're gonna make our money back by selling oil to the United States. That way we can use the oil that we have just to make a little bit more money, use it on growth, everything like that. The United States has accepted
This
the
country
construction
signed our
of the
request
pipeline.
for authorization to construct a pipeline on their soil. Since we have a good economic relationship with them, we didn't have any trouble convincing them.
So essentially what you need to build these oil pipelines is a very good economic relationship with them. So if we go over here, we will see that we have a positive 22 economic relationship. So we're going to go and find energy, and we're going to build a pipeline. So this pipeline will entail that we look to see that we are choosing the correct one. It's going to be this one right here. Yes, 3.3 million. Authorization, building a gas pipeline or building a pipeline. We're going to do this one. And then we're going to build it just like this. We're going to build it all the way to Corpus Christi. So if we go over here to economy, go over to sale, we go over to oil, go over to oil, and then we see that we have a new option whenever it comes to oil delivery. So we can use it by oil tanker or train, or we can use pipe 7410. And this one will essentially use the transportable volume of 1.9 million. So transportable volume. So we did have a volume of about 3.3 million tow, but it looks like that we now have 1.9 million tow available. So we're only going to be able to fetch about $1.4 billion off of this contract.
Here we go. The construction site, which is really comprised of several small sites spread out along the length of the pipeline, is open. Construction will take a relatively long time, as you might have expected. During this time, we will move on to the commercial phase, and you will be able to offer supply contracts to all the countries crossed by the pipeline. These contracts should be quite lucrative. Since the transportation costs will be nearly non-existent, our margin should be quite high.
Yeah, so that's the biggest thing about making these pipelines, is that not only is your, like, essentially whenever you're negotiating these like regular contracts, what you usually want to do is that you want a higher sales price, especially if you're like shipping it overseas or something like that. But whenever it comes to a pipeline and you were able to directly transport that oil from point A to point B, essentially the transportation costs of it are non-existent. So then you don't have to pay for transportation. All you have to pay for is essentially just the construction of the pipeline. And then after all of that is paid off, it's pure profit at that point. I did finally release the energy guide for Power and Revolution. I finally got that completed, and it is now up and live on the channel. I'll go ahead and link it down in the description below if you guys are interested. Very much explains a lot of different aspects about energy production and electricity production and what you really need to concentrate on depending on the country that you are choosing. Watch out for growth. The morale of consumers is not at its best. The purchasing power of the working class limits them to buying basic necessities, and stores are far from making money. It's therefore the economy you'll see that will set the pace. No doubt it will be good to stimulate growth by a rigorous relaunch of consumption, while also improving the household purchasing power, Madam President. So essentially, as he is asking for us to launch a massive revigorous reinvestment into consumption in the country, what we want to do is that we're going to go ahead and propose this law. So we're going to go ahead and propose a small tax reform of lowering the value-added tax. The value-added tax is essentially a tax on consumption. That is the literal definition of it. So essentially, like if there's like an apple or something like that, and then you make it into a apple pie, there are certain stages of production that are involved in that. So the more value that is added to that product, the higher the tax will be. So it's not like a flat sales tax, but rather it's a overall tax on the production stages that product goes through. We'll go ahead and call this the we're going to call this the Consumption Reinvestment Act. We're going to lower that to 15%. We're going to go ahead and make sure Parliament is going to be on the side of lowering the VAT tax. And then we're going to ask that a 6% wealth tax is introduced, and we will add that to the tax reform. Then what else could we add to this? We are going to, we can increase the petroleum and energy product tax. Could we get by with that? People won't like it, but I think we're going to go ahead and add it, kind of sneak that into the reform. We're going to go ahead and do a increase in the tax on industrial pollution, start fighting some of that economic growth. And we're going to incrementally increase the industrial pollution tax. And as well, we're going to go ahead and ask that Congress approve a increase in the carbon tax. We're going to go ahead and lower that to $5. Go ahead and add that to the tax reform. And then let's go over to here, and we could possibly declare a tax amnesty. We do it on all offenses, or we can go over here. We possibly could afford a exoneration investment in real estate. This is a partial tax exemption applied to individuals who have invested in property. It encourages new build construction. Could, but I think I'm going to do that at a later time. I mean, we could obviously afford it. As of right now, we have a $60 billion surplus right now. So we can very much kind of play around whenever it comes to these things. We're also going to encourage some more growth whenever it comes to personal income taxes. So I think I'm going to lower the low bracket to 1.2%. We're going to lower the middle bracket to 14%. Then we could do 37% for people with higher incomes, maybe 39%. It's very, very progressive tax rate right here. I think I'm going to also increase the low bracket to 1.5%, so we're only losing about $1.7 billion off of that. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that. People actually support that a little bit more. Add that to the reform. And then Consumption Reinvestment Act. So we see all of this. A little bit of a bug right here, but it's going to pass. So we just need to give it about 2 weeks. All right, and we are back. So Creation and Ambitions Space Program and the Consumption Reinvestment Act has passed. Survey report, disapproval among male wealthy people. According to the sources, they are criticizing the increase in the income tax, and we must follow up on this issue. So they want us to reduce it, but unfortunately we will not. Massive protests in the United States for some reason, and we just got hit by a hurricane. So this hurricane just hit the region of Jalisco. So let's go ahead and look. 852 people are dead as of right now. Let's go ahead and give an emergency package of about $3 billion. We'll go ahead and send that over. Immigration, let's go over here. Immigration rate is increasing right now. That immigration right now. We're in an immigration event in which people are coming in, but then they are leaving at a much greater pace. So that's unfortunate. Let's go ahead and come over here. And we are reducing illegal immigration right now. And what we could do to kind of respond to that is that we could start increasing the amount of camps that we have. The detention centers, essentially these are just holding facilities that we can, whenever we capture illegal immigrants that are transporting through our territory, we can go over and basically just say like, hey, you know, you're not going to be able to come here. And then we basically kind of like vet through them. If they're good, then we actually release them back into Mexico. Or if they're not, then we just deport them back to where they came from. We actually had a little bit of time where we had a little bit of a decrease in illegal immigrants coming into Mexico, but we are continuing to go up right now. So this is kind of beneficial because we have a lot of people that we can try to regularize here. So we're kind of hovering around 464,000 people that have been here for more than 1 year and have been working in our country. I wanted to wait until it got to like 500,000 and then maybe wait until it got to a million, but it looks like that we're still in a situation where more people are leaving than are actually coming in, so we may actually have to regularize these people, so just to kind of like get them into our economy and formalize them essentially. We're also gonna go ahead and increase our infrastructures. So what we can do is that we can go over to here, we're going to go to port, and then we are going to invest $5.4 billion into a port. So we have a lot of money that is coming in that we can use to pay off debts, but Mexico does actually benefit off of increased amounts of ports. So we're going to build one off of the coast of Tijuana. This is going to be basically opposite of the Long Beach, Los Angeles port. We're going to build this. We're going to build this just off of the coast of Tijuana. And then we're going to go over here. We're going to go ahead and call it the port of. Then I want to see what the reaction to that port is. Massive construction site at port is open. We can already draw some conclusions. As for the transport of goods, this will greatly improve the situation, will help us streamline business. Lastly, the location is an excellent choice and will contribute to Baja California's development. And we could actually have some more room to build one more port. So we could do a port off of the coast of Veracruz. Obviously, if Veracruz was just down here, we would probably do it. And while I was actually gone, if you actually notice this, you will see right here that we have built a network of highways that will start to streamline business in Mexico. So we can see that these highways now connect from Nuevo Laredo to Monterrey to San Luis Potosi over to Leon. Leon actually is an interchange for these cities. And this one goes all the way over to Mexico City, and then Mexico City transports down to Oaxaca, and then Oaxaca goes over to the city, this is a name that I'm not even going to try to pronounce, which over goes to another city I'm not going to try to pronounce, and then goes over to Campeche, and then goes over to Merida. Guadalajara is serviced by these highways too. In Guadalajara, we will actually build a highway from Guadalajara over to Tepic, and Tepic we'll actually go ahead and finish these networks. Tijuana is now directly connected over to Mexico City. This will be a rather interesting amount of money that we are kind of spending, but this essentially will be the best economic decision in order to connect all of Mexico. Kind of does make me mad that like all of these, the Minister of Transport basically says these are all trash investments, but honestly, for national security purposes and economic purposes, these will be very beneficial, especially whenever it means that we can move the military from the north to the south as quickly as possible. That is the best possible reason why we would need these highways. That is the actual reason that the highway system in the United States was created under Dwight D. Eisenhower, is that way, instead of using just basically trunk roads, they had a national highway system that was pretty straightforward, where military units could go from one side of the country to the other if needed. So essentially they could be nationalized, cleared out, and then people, military units could use them to get to and from other sides of the country. Right, and we're starting to get up to the end of this episode. So what I wanted to do, since the last episode was so long and it kind of threw us out of our quarter episode length, essentially what we're doing is that we're getting up to October. So this will be a little bit of a shorter episode, but it's kind of a pretty significant episode because of the economic like strategy that we are starting to employ. And as well as reaching the promises that we need to do. So recognition of animal rights is going to be the last thing that we are going to go for. This is going to be an environmental choice. Let's go over to animals. Regulation on animal welfare, and let's go ahead and propose that to Congress. This will be done on October 7th, 2024. We're going to have this little debt payoff right here. So let's go over to debt, and then let's go over to current rate. We're not paying any interest as of right now, so we could actually use this on interest rates that we are paying. India, we are paying 14% right now. Who's the highest interest rate that we are paying? India. India is the highest interest rate that we are paying as of right now. I seem to be okay whenever it's coming to like financing certain projects. We're a little bit we went from like 3% at the beginning of this episode to 1.79. I'm gonna go ahead and pay India down a little bit, and so yeah, that really helped us out there. And then so now Mexico, United Kingdom, and Russia are now our top interest payments. So that is good. Then we're gonna go to October 8th, and we'll go ahead and end this episode there. All right, recognition of animal welfare has been recognized, and as well, the industrial pollution tax has been implemented, and then so that actually lowered our growth rate by about 1%. So in the next episode, we will try to start lowering our growth rates to about 5% is what we're going to be aiming for. What we could also be doing is try to get our exports to about 1.2 trillion dollars. So we are pretty good right now, where our exports are about above 1.1 trillion. So we do see that they're actually going up. They are inclining upward. Imports are on their way up, which is somewhat healthy because maybe we're starting to become a little more service-based. I think in the next episode as well, we're going to start investing more into service-based sectors. A service-based economy means that we would be importing a little bit more, so we probably, maybe by the end of the series, could be importing about $500 billion worth of goods. But once we start to kind of develop our service sector, that will really start to help out growth, and as well as starting to make sure that we're industrializing the way we need to. Because we need a very strong industrial base in order to have a strong service sector. And that's really what I want to see in Mexico. Tourism and hotel trade will also be being developed. I really want to hit $50 billion in sales here. So we could actually increase subsidies here to about $2 billion if we need to. I believe, yeah, they are exonerated, so that should help them out there. Nationalization of urban transportation has completed itself, so we are planning on privatizing urban transportation, possibly. We don't have a full-on nationalization here, so we don't have to micromanage it, but we still are holding back some growth here because we have it nationalized. Road transportation, $167 billion. We're not going to nationalize it, but numerical infrastructures and as well as internet services is something that I do want to focus on. But guys, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're going to go ahead and check real quick. 106 terawatt hours worth of electricity. So we're going to employ some more constructions in the next episode in terms of offshore wind, and then maybe a nuclear power plant or two. But yeah, guys, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you guys want to see more content like this, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss anything whenever I do make it to the channel. If you guys want to see more Mexico, go ahead and tell me what you guys' thoughts in the comments are below. Go ahead and also go watch my new energy tutorial. It's a brand new tutorial that I just made and posted. And as well, I'm going to be making a election tutorial very soon. And then after that, I'm going to be doing a immigration tutorial and possibly even a taxation tutorial. So lots of tutorials. And if you guys want to see more tutorials, tell me your suggestions on what you want to see in the comments down below. But other than that, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care.